United Airlines Flight 232 Case Study by Jocelyn Tenisaka. Background of United Airlines Flight 232. Accident date was July 19, 1989. Type of aircraft, McDonnell Douglas DC-10. Type of engine, a high bypass ratio turbofan engine. During the time of the accident, there were 285 passengers and 11 crew members on board. One flight attendant and 110 passengers were fatally injured. Airport accident occurred in Sioux Gateway Airport in Iowa. Flight crew background. The captain was Alfred C. Haynes, 57 years old. He was the pilot that flew the DC-10 on that day, and he had 7,190 flight hours logged on the DC-10. First Officer William R. Records, 48 years old, had an airline transfer pilot certificate with ratings on the L-101 and DC-10, and he had 665 hours logged in as a DC-10 first officer. Second officer was Dudley J. Dorvac, 51 years old, accumulated 33 hours as a second officer in the DC-10, holds a flight engineer certificate. And the training check airman, Captain Dennis E. Fitch, was 46 years old, held an airline transfer pilot certificate. His total time on the DC-10 with United was 2,987 hours. Flight crew background continued. The following are the flight attendants aboard Flight 232. Flight Attendant Janice C. Brown, Flight Attendant Barbara A. Galapsi, Flight Attendant Timothy B. Owens, Flight Attendant Georgine Del Castillo, Flight Attendant Susan White, Flight Attendant Donna S. McGrady, Flight Attendant Virginia A. Murray. Flight 232 accident timeline. Departure, time of explosion, crash, and aftermath. Departure. Flight 232 departed at 14:09 Central Daylight Savings Time. Weathers, clear skies, beautiful day, and smooth air. This flight was carrying a total of 296 passengers and 11 crew members. This flight was en route from Denver Stapleton International Airport to Chicago O'Hare International Airport. Before takeoff, the captain's staff noted a minor electrical fault in the galley on the previous leg. However, engineers gave him the all clear and allowed him to proceed with his flight. Time of explosion. At 15:16, the flight crew heard a loud bang. The loud bang was a cracked fan blade in the number 2 engine which exploded, causing the engine to fail. Pilot follows the shutdown procedures and cuts off fuel and power to the number 2 engine. After shutting it off, the flight engineer realizes that all 3 of the hydraulic systems are empty. This occurred because of the flying debris that punctured all hydraulic lines. Without the hydraulics, the plane cannot operate flight controls, not allowing it to steer. They tried to adjust the power on the remaining 2 engines to keep it in control. At 15:20, the flight crew radioed Minneapolis ARTCC to request emergency assistance and vectors to the nearest airport. ARTCC asked and later instructed them to land at an airport in Sioux City, Iowa, since they were proceeding in that direction. Crash. Dennis E. Fitch went to help out in the cockpit and realized that there was no procedure when having no hydraulic fluid in the system. Dennis takes over the throttle levers because those are the only things that were working at the moment. Their goal was that they wanted to make a series of loops in order to be aligned with the runway to land safely. At 4 p.m., the right wing crashes on the runway and sparks a fire inside the fuselage. The airplane touched down on the threshold slightly to the left of the center line on runway 22 at 1600. First ground contact was made by the right wing tip, followed by the right main landing gear. The airplane skidded to the right of the runway and rolled to an inverted position. Firefighters and rescue operators began immediately, but the airplane was destroyed by the impact of the fire. Aftermath. After the crash, the plane was split into 3 sections, which were the cockpit, the tail section, and the mid-passenger section. There was a total of 111 passengers that were fatally injured from the crash. Cause of the accident. To figure out what caused this accident, the NTSB dispatched the investigation to Sioux City. The team reported that there was a crack on the fan disc and had gotten bigger in size after each flight, and it was missed after every inspection. The crack was originated and first missed by General Electric, the manufacturing company of the disc. During flight, the faulty fan disc couldn't withhold the stresses that was imposed by its rotation. The fan disc fractured, damaging a section of the number 2 hydraulic system and creating holes on both remaining hydraulic systems, causing the systems to no longer have any hydraulic fluid. Aviation safety concept: active cause versus root cause. Active cause is an act or an omission, a condition or a circumstance that either starts or sustains an accident sequence. Root cause is caused by lack of training, regulatory/recommended inspections were not done, the factor that caused the problem and defect, and should be permanently eliminated through process improvement. The factor that sets in motion the cause and effect chain that creates the problem, and the true reason that contributed to the creation of the problem, defect, or non-conformance. Active versus root cause explained in Flight 232. The metallurgic flaw that formed during the initial manufacture of the titanium alloy would have been apparent if the part had been inspected in its final part shape stage. Due to lack of regulatory and recommended inspection at the final manufacturing of the alloy, the small defect was not detected. The factor that caused the problem. The engine overhaul facility's failure to detect a fatigue crack originating from a previously undetected defect located in a critical area of the Stage 1 fan disc is what led to the fan disc fracturing and damaging the number 2 hydraulic system, and it created holes in the hydraulic systems that were remaining, which caused the system to have zero hydraulic fluid. With no hydraulic fluid to control the primary flight controls to bring the aircraft back on the ground safely, Flight 232's accident occurred. Maintenance also failed to realize that the crack was 13 millimeters long when they inspected the aircraft 16 months before the flight. Interview with Richard Tenesaka, JetBlue Airways aircraft maintenance technician. I asked, "What are your thoughts on United Airlines Flight 232? He answered, "This accident was extremely serious, but it's one of those accidents that really could have been avoided with not only the proper maintenance, but also the proper manufacturing procedures and inspections from manufacturing companies." I asked, "Do you think maintenance could have done a better job at detecting this problem before it even occurred?" He answered, "I think that maintenance should have been able to detect this issue if they were following the proper steps and procedures needed to complete this inspection. But I also believe that there is a chance that the steps the mechanics were following did not fully explain to them how to do the inspection. I say this because I see that as a result of this accident, the FAA changed/upgraded engine inspection procedures, and they would only change the procedures if it is what contributed to the cause of this accident. What are some recommendations in order to prevent accidents like this from reoccurring?" He said, "Accidents like Flight 232 can be prevented by keeping up with maintenance, but it also has to do with when and how frequent inspections are performed." My thoughts on Flight 232. I felt that this accident could have been avoided if General Electric would have done their inspections properly. The small 0.5-inch crack on the fan blade that led to this accident could have been detected during manufacturing phase, and if so, it could have been fixed before the aircraft went in service. I also feel that human error was the cause of this accident because maintenance wasn't able to detect the defect that led to this accident. My suggestion is that the FAA should make mechanics do inspections in high-stress areas more frequently so that accidents like Flight 232 won't happen again. FAA recommendations. After the accident, the FAA authorized upgraded engine inspection procedures, and the FAA demanded change in the DC-10 hydraulic systems. Also, to conduct system safety reviews of currently certified aircraft as a result of this accident, and to issue an airworthiness directive to mandate service life limits or recurrent inspections on General Electric's engine stage number 1 fan disks.